what are the effects of that? And while you answer that, okay, I have another question, but just you may want to attempt that. What are the effects of price control?
Okay, so price
I know
control.
there are negative and positive effects. You may want to.
Yes, so the negatives come when one of the negatives, I just said, when the institution in charge of the price control, I don't want to use the word price control.
Okay.
It sounds too forceful and like it's more or less like militancy.
I understand.
But I want to use regulation. When the institution in charge of the price regulation fails to do its job, the negative effect is that consumers don't see the full benefit of the economic downturn or the economic, gains that the government is making. And if the regulatory institution also, flex its muscle so hard, it also affects businesses.
Okay.
So when we say price regulation, the reason I said I don't want to use the control. When price regulation is a system where there is more or less like a meeting or a meeting point where the businesses will not lose, they get ethical profit, and then the consumer is also not placed at a disadvantaged position, and they get whatever benefit they also ought to get. For example, if the exchange rate is going high, in this case the cedi is performing poorly, like we saw in some previous years, what it means is that the cost of importation is very high. And so it is fair for the businesses who are imported, because majority of the things we consume in this country are imported. Let's face the fact.
Right.
So it is fair for the importers also to at least pass a margin of the extra that they are incurring to bring the goods into the country. It is fair for that. So the regulatory system or the regulatory institution can come in to help these importers to set a margin that will cushion them to recover their capital and get some reasonable profit, whilst the consumer is also encouraged or made to pay a bit more in a fair manner to be able to get the good that they want. But if you make it loose, there's collusion amongst the importers and other business entities to set prices in order to get unethical profit. If you make it too restrictive you collapse businesses, because in this case you are forcing businesses to set unrealistic prices that will actually disadvantage them, even erode their capitals, and then they go bankrupt or they shut down. So regulation is a win-win kind of thing. If it is well done, businesses benefit, consumers benefit. But remember, you see, all of us are consumers before we even become businesses. If you have to remember that. Yes, the person selling, let's say, bags of rice in Medina Market has forgotten that he has electricity bills to pay, or he will go and buy maybe a mosquito coil or a bread somewhere. We are all consumers. So the regulatory institutions ought to do that kind of regulation to ensure that there is a win-win or a fair level, a fair playing ground for both businesses and consumers.
I see. But how do you deal with the fact, when businesses tell you that I restocked my stuff a while ago and